Thank you. Thank every one of you for being here. And I certainly appreciate this opportunity. I appreciate it so much because, as you know, the chaos in the world is kind of fear provoking for a lot of people. And yet, for some of us, it's like, oh, this is so exciting. Because you could look at the world and look at it in one sense that it seems to be all falling apart and it's scary. And what's the future? It's unclear. And the reason why this is happening is very important, and I'll give a scientific reason for it, and that is this: that human behavior has precipitated what is called the sixth mass extinction of life on this planet. Five times in the history of this planet, life was thriving, and some cataclysmic event ended up wiping out up to 90% of life, and then it started all over again. The last mass extinction, 66 million years ago, the planet was lush with forests and jungles and dinosaurs. And a comet hit near the Yucatan Peninsula, upended the environment, and wiped out, of course, all the dinosaurs and wiped out almost all of life. And since then, we started rebuilding in nature. Here we are today. And what science has recognized, and this is like the alarm bell, is that we are losing species of organisms on this planet faster than in previous mass extinctions. And it turns out human behavior is undermining the web of life. And so basically it says we are creating our own extinction. Now you might say, well, this is going to be 1,000 years from now. I go, no, how about within the century? And we are completely unsustainable. I say, so what's the relevance? It says we are being called upon to evolve. The analogy that I use a lot is the analogy of the metamorphosis of a butterfly. It starts out as a caterpillar. Caterpillar is most voracious of organisms. If it lands on a plant, it'll eat every leaf off of that plant. And then when it reaches a certain size, the caterpillar stops growing, stops moving, and puts itself inside a cocoon. And in that cocoon is a process that leads to the development of the butterfly. So the relevance about all this is simply that human civilization is reflecting a very much uh, metamorphosis process right now. The caterpillar version of our civilization, voracious as it is undermining the web of life, eating up everything and destroying everything. And we're being called upon to have a metamorphosis, to evolve. And we are going to evolve into this much lighter touch of a butterfly, which has very small footprint on the environment. And I go, yeah, we're in process. It's called metamorphosis. So now one step back, and that is this: a caterpillar is comprised of millions and millions of cells. A human, while we see ourselves as an individual, is actually an illusion as individual, because a human, by full scientific definition, is a community of 50 trillion cells. So underneath your skin is this bustling community that's going on in there. And when there's harmony in that community, there's health. But when there's disharmony in the community, there's dis-ease. And so we can look at the cellular population in here, but I'm go back to the caterpillar and I say, well, if you're a cell in that caterpillar, during the growing stage, everybody's working, man. The digestive system is pulling in the food, the muscle cells are moving this thing. Every cell is working, job going out. But at that moment where it reaches the end of this, all of a sudden the jobs have to stop. If the caterpillar is not eating, then what's the digestive system going to do? And if it stops moving, what are the muscle cells going to do? I say, oh, inside that cocoon, the civilization that exists starts to fall apart. The cells are out of work. All of a sudden, it's like there's no jobs. What's going on in here and all this? And there's a chaos. And chaos is not random because there's a process going on that is specific. I say, what is it? The population comprising the caterpillars falling apart, and simultaneously a population of cells are beginning to form the butterfly. So one is coming down, one is going up. And I say, so why is it relevant? I say, well, if you look around the world, everyone's so caught up in what's coming down, we're not paying attention to what we are creating on the way up. And our attention is really necessary, because if you focus on the scary stuff, then you are introducing a fear into the system. And if you're focusing on the vision of a future, that is beautiful and all that, then you're enhancing your vitality. Okay. And the reason why it's falling down is just as in the caterpillar, we cannot build a sustainable civilization on the foundation of this current civilization, because this is the one that's causing the problem. Rising to the top are things we haven't dealt with that are coming up. Why? Because if we move into the future, we can no longer hide things such as the Me Too generation coming in and saying, look, this has been out of balance for all these years, but now we've got to bring it to the surface. Black Lives Matter coming in saying, yes, this has been under your surface, but it's rotten under here. And environmentalists are coming up saying, look, you can't keep destroying this thing. And I say, why is all this coming up? Because to create the sustainable future, we have to deal with who and what we are. And then I go just a side tangent here, but it's the most important side tangent is this. The most valid science on planet Earth is quantum physics. Most people have no ideas except that it's a complicated, scary thing like that. But I'm going to have to say this. It is the most tested of all sciences and the most valid of all the sciences on the planet. And you go, so what? Now here's why. The first principle of quantum physics is that consciousness is creating our life experiences. We're creating this. And the idea is, if you look around, you go, why would I create this mess? Why would I create this mess? And the answer becomes very profoundly important to help us get out of this mess. And now sidetrack again. A brain is like the most advanced computer that humans are aware of. It's a computer. And I go, so what? I say, I'm going to make an analogy story that tells you where the problem comes from right now. And that is this. I go to the store and buy a brand new computer and I bring it home and I'm so excited. I plug it in, push start, and it boots up. The screen lights up. I'm so excited. And I say, oh, let's make a drawing. Let's do a spreadsheet, let's write an essay. And I realize I can't do that. I got a brand new computer. I can't even do that. I say, why not? First, you have to put programs into a computer that you can operate from. So you buy the new computer, the next one is what? You download programs. And once the programs are in, then what? You can use the keyboard now to engage those programs and write and do what you want. Okay, so here's the point. The brain of a child boots up in the last trimester of pregnancy, but it's got no programs, can't do anything. So learning begins in utero even before the child's born. I say, well, how can a child learn something that's all inside here, got no connection to, how does it know? I go, recognize that mother's blood provides nutrition for a developing fetus. The blood of the mother goes into the womb and the nourishment is passed on to the fetus and then back into the mother's blood, cleaned and refreshed. And I go, yeah, cool, that's right. And I go, but people have misunderstood the fact that yes, nutrition is the main thing in mother's blood, but information is in our blood. What do you mean information? Emotional feelings and chemicals, right? Neuro control of the organs and their functions, what to do in a stress situation versus what in a peaceful situation. I say, why? Is this important? The answer is this. The first programs that come in, learned programs, are reading the emotions and character of the mother. I say, why is that important? Because her emotions determine the health of the world for that fetus. If it's a wonderful supporting world, then she sends all the nourishment and good news, life is the most beautiful thing, develop wonderfully because you're going to enjoy this. Or if she's threatened about her survival, the job, the future, the money, the support, then all of a sudden there's a stress hormone going in. I go, well, the stress hormones affect the human, but they also affect the fetus in the exact same way. And the relevance is it changes the pattern of behavior. And I say these are programs. The fetus has to learn the programs and it starts then. And then when you're born, your brain for 7 years is not functioning at the vibration of consciousness. They go, vibration. I go, yes. Put wires on a person's head. It's called electroencephalograph. You're reading the brain vibrations of consciousness. I go, when you put those wires on a child under 7, it's not vibrating at the level of consciousness. It's just below consciousness. It's vibrating at